Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Marvel, in their Marvel Legends series, we are featuring Secret Wars Titania. Okay, so this line of action figures is celebrating 40 years of the comic book miniseries Secret Wars as published by Marvel Comics way back in the day. Back in 1984, I believe I was in the 3rd grade. So this really dates me. So what we're getting here is Titania. I bought this, so today is January 9th, 2025. I bought this recently in the States at my local Target. The Secret Wars line has been around for a couple of weeks, but it's been impossible to find in my neck of the woods. But luckily for me, Target had a bunch of these and I grabbed them. The only figure I'm kind of missing right now is the black costume pre-symbiote Spider-Man over here. The rest of the action figures I've taken a look at, and they're all lovely. And Titania is definitely one that I've been jonesing for. Titania, she's a super villain, if you're not familiar with her. She's not at the same level as like a Doctor Doom or even a Mole Man. You know, she's kind of a second-tier character. But she's had a very long-running history in Marvel Comics. You know, everything from her crazy wedding with Absorbing Man to her rivalry with She-Hulk. And this looks to be like a fantastic figure. She's kind of a brute, so you're looking at one bad Mama Jamma. Awesome looking action figure. Much like the other Secret Wars figures from the original line produced by Mattel in the 1980s, she comes with the identity disc, which we see here, which features a lenticular card insert, extra pair of hands, and of course the generic Secret Wars Celebrating 40 logo that you can swap out into the shield. On the back, Titania. When Doctor Doom harnesses the Beyonder's power to create superhumans, Mary McFarlane becomes Titania, whose immense strength and durability make her integral to the supervillain team. Alright, so if you're a younger fan, you might be more so familiar with the live-action MCU version of the character that appeared in the She-Hulk miniseries on Disney+. But this recreates Mary McFarlane in her comic book form, which we see right there. Again, she belongs to the Secret Wars line, and all these figures are awesome. For me, I think the one I was wanting the most was Wolverine, but the figure that surprised me the most was probably the Iron Man. This figure don't sleep on the Iron Man. It's awesome. He comes with so many wonderful accessories. Even the cap is great. You have a nice, very clean sculpt of Captain America. And I kind of feel like if you have Titania, you also need the Beyonder, who is kind of like the main character of the first Secret Wars. Here's the instructions on how to use the identity shield. You got pop it open. Already inserted is the lenticular identity card, which you can swap out for the Secret Wars logo one if you want that one instead. Alright, so we have Titania here. Awesome looking figure. This is really eye-catching, very colorful color scheme, you know, really cool retro inspired costume design. You know, this really calls back to like the 1980s aesthetic. The identity shield's a nice bonus, especially if you grew up on the original Mattel action figures from way back in the day. And you can see here, it's a lenticular card, meaning that the image changes depending on the viewing angle. 1 minute she's Mary McFarlane, and then you look at it in another angle, she becomes Titania. Really cool play feature. And exercise some caution when you're removing this cardboard insert from the tray. If you yank it out, you can actually damage the card because this isn't plastic. This is just plain cardboard. And it's easy to dog ear these if you're not careful. So just depress the sides, and then once you do that, you should be able to remove this from the tray easily. Like the instructions indicated, you can easily swap out the lenticular card with the Secret Wars Celebrating 40 logo, like that. But I have a feeling most collectors, much like myself, are going to opt for the identity card just because this is a nice shout out to the original toy from back in the day, or the original toy line from back in the day. You know, it's nice that we're getting a Titania figure in 2024. You know, the character's been around for 40 years, but it's nice that she's, you know, getting some proper action figure justice and having a really well-produced action figure of herself. We're getting extra hands. These are cool hands. They're not necessarily open palms. They're kind of like gripping hands, but these are the kind of hands that you probably want to put on her if you want to emote her being like angry, or if she's like in the middle of a brawl with like She-Hulk or any of the other Marvel heroes during the Secret Wars. You know, whether she's tussling around with Captain America, Rogue, or Wolverine. And if you're much like myself, you know, the fact that Secret Wars came out 40 years ago probably makes you feel very old right now. Alright, so wonderful looking action figure. Titania stands in at about a little under 7 inches. For a size comparison, here she is to the X-Men character Vulcan, also from the Marvel Legends line produced by Hasbro. And you can see she towers over Vulcan. You know, she's a tank of a character. Let's take a look at her up close. Awesome head sculpt. I love the facial expression. You know, she's kind of like gritting her teeth, looking nice and angry. She's about to like throw down with the Marvel superheroes. You know, her life's been turned upside down now that she has superpowers. And it's a great looking figure. One thing that caught my eye is the arm pieces here. I'm really hoping they reuse these arms and create an X-Men Hellhound character. For those of you who are familiar with the X-Men, there's that one character, Ahab, who's from the future. And then one of the more popular X-Men characters who kind of utilizes this spiked sleeve design is Rachel Grey, the future daughter of Scott Summers and Jean Grey. She comes from an alternate reality. And I'd love if they ever made a Rachel figure if they used this arm piece right here. This would be perfect for it. Titania's costume is awesome. I love the belt. It has a really, really nice shade of gold on here. It's almost kind of like a satin finish. And you can see it's kind of reflective in some areas. Her costume looks great. You kind of have this very like rich magenta with kind of like a deep pink on the chest. The paint application on the eyes, really well executed, very clean. You can see the highlighting and the pupils on the inside. Nice full volume on the hair, which is cleanly sculpted. It really has some nice body to it. And for those of you that are into cake, here we go. Some cake right there. Some nice thigh-high boots. Again, if they ever make a Rachel Summers figure, these lower leg pieces would be perfect for that action figure. So yeah, looking great so far. In terms of her articulation, her head swivels left and right. She does not necessarily look down, and I have a feeling that's because her head might be attached to a dumbbell joint, not the articulated kind. Her arms, standard articulation. And then you have the bicep cut toward the top. Very clean, pinless design for the elbows, which are double jointed. Articulated wrists. And let me swap out the hands, actually. I wouldn't mind having one of the other hands. Like, I like this hand right here. Like, if she wants to, like, pick up a car or put someone in a bear hug, I kind of feel like these are the hands to use. She has a cut beneath the breast line, which allows for swivel movement. And she doesn't really crunch forward, but she does arch back, which is nice. So if you want to get her in a nice throwing pose, if, you know, for example, if she's going to, like, press slam Captain America, you could do that. Articulated legs at the hips, which allow her to kick up about there and then outward. Surprisingly, there is no thigh cut on her. That's very odd. But at the same time, they kind of make up for it because, I take it back, there is a thigh cut. It's not at the top, but they cleverly hide it at the boot. So that's a much more cleaner look. Again, very clean design with the knees, much like the elbows, they're pinless. And of course, they're double jointed, and then you have articulated ankles. Overall, I kind of feel like it's a much needed piece in any collection. It's always nice to build out your Marvel villains. We don't get as many villain characters as we do the superheroes, so it's nice to, build up your super villain roster. Again, she comes from the Secret Wars line of action figures, and I do have some more. We have the Captain America, which is an awesome figure. This thing's great. Very clean design. If you really want the perfect comic book Captain America, this might be for you. They have a very vibrant comic book inspired shade of blue. And then the sculpting on the scale mail, it's so clean. It's such a wonderful looking figure. And then there he is next to Titania. You can see the size difference. The Iron Man figure is great. Which I don't have on me right now is his accessories. He comes with his Mattel-inspired blaster with the smoking effects, which is great, and it's just really, really cool. But on top of that, he comes with roller skates, which you can attach to the bottom of his feet. So don't sleep on this figure. This one's awesome. Also, in the Secret Wars lineup, we have the main villain. We have the Beyonder. A very 80s inspired costume design. This is very post-disco. It kind of feels like almost like Nightwing with the open chest and a large lapel collar. Awesome figure. And then lastly, we have the Wolverine. If you want an 80s inspired Wolverine, especially in terms of the color scheme and the smirk on his face, this kind of feels very John Byrne. This is a must purchase. I like this figure a lot. Like I stated earlier, the only figure I seem to be missing is the pre-symbiote black costume Spider-Man. And I'm definitely on the hunt for that one. But yeah, these are awesome figures. It's such an amazing line. If you're a younger collector, or if you never dabbled in the comic books, don't sleep on the Secret Wars line of action figures. I think they're such incredible comic book representations. So if you're a big comic book fan and you're kind of hunting down for those perfect 80s iconic versions of the characters, the Secret Wars line is definitely for you. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.